Welcome to Karibu Anawim's program, 15 Minutes at Dr. Zayli's Desk, where we explore topics related to living with a facial disfigurement. This program is for you, your loved ones, for educational purposes and professionals who would like to know more about living with facial disfigurement. Our presenters have lived experience, research background, or work with people living with facial disfigurement. It's important to begin the conversation with terminology that society understands and is clear. We use the word disfigurement as it is the medical and legal terminology. We recognise you may identify with other words such as visible difference or with your own diagnosis. Let's see where the conversation goes. So pull up a seat, grab a cuppa, and let's chat around the table with Karibu Anawim's 15 Minutes at Dr. Zayli's Desk.
And hi, and welcome. I'm not quite sure whether or not I'm speaking over the top of anything else right now because it was coming through the speaker. And anyway, doesn't matter. Hopefully, can anyone hear me? That is good. Welcome everyone to today. Today we are looking, or last week we looked at August's monthly question and answer time, and which we had 10 questions, would you believe, and also another one answered just later after almost as we wrapped it up. This month is the power of story and writing your own and creating your own. But first, this week, we're looking at what is a story. Well, what is a story? What stories do you like? What stories sit well with you, and what can you remember of your childhood stories? Do you tell childhood stories? Are you still in your childhood and still creating memorable stories? Well, wait a second. I'll just pop this up because I've forgotten to do some noting. And what is a story? Well, by definition, a story is a narrative about people and events that usually include an interesting plot or an interesting storyline. A story can be fictional, made up, or true. It can be written, read out loud, or made up on the spot. An example, or there's a few examples that I want to give you of stories: fairy tales, magical stories, usually originating in folklore. Fables. Who remembers the story of the tortoise and the hare? Well, that is a fable because fables are short stories illustrating a moral lesson. And in the story of the tortoise and the hare, it doesn't matter how fast you go, slow and steady wins the race. That's the moral of the story, of that fable. Fantasy involves an imaginative world where it can have real locations and fake locations, like as in imaginary world and real world, where they merge together. And it's filled with supernatural and magical characters. Fiction stories are not based on real people, but non-fiction stories are based on actual events and facts. So why are stories important? Why do you like telling stories? Why do you like listening to stories? Are you a reader, or are you a audible storybook person? Well, stories are a gateway to truth-telling, which helps us to inform our opinions and decision making and our own self-views. Sharing stories enable us to come together and declare our values and act upon them. And they solve mysteries, or attempt to solve mysteries, like the Aboriginal Dreamtime, the Rainbow Serpent, and Tiddledeck, the frog. That's just a few of these of the stories. The Rainbow Serpent went through the land creating, from memory, which may not be correct. I think they are creating the way that the land is formed. And all I remember about Tiddledeck is he was a ginormous frog, and he got so greedy, and he gobbled up all the water, and then he spewed it out of his mouth. And I think that's how they got their that's a story about how rivers and water came into being. And stories are easily remembered. You know, you remember a story that has touched your heartstrings in that it's not easy to remember facts or figures generally for those who haven't got a mathematical mindset, but it's easy to remember, or it's easier to remember snippets of stories. You may not know who actually told you, but you will remember the gist of the story, the body or the main point that actually stood out to you in that story. And so, why is it important to share your story? Well, this is where you get to create. This is where you get to tell your story your way, to empower yourself and others around you. You get to influence the people that are around you with crafting your own story with your own words. You get to create a non-fictional, based on true life events, from your own life. And you get to create the most memorable first meeting to be remembered by your story that you have created, that you have told, and that, so therefore the people don't have to invent a story about you that is totally and utterly wrong. Those are my 3 things that I wanted to bring up today. So remember that it's okay not to be okay, and to practice some self-care. So this month, I am going to share with you some practical tips for children. So getting children to do some breath work and that. So this one's called bunny breathing. Okay, it's pretty simple. You sit up tall with your back straight and your head tilted to the sky. And then you take 3 short inhale breaths like a bunny sniffing the flower. Are you ready? And then you hold your breath for a moment, and then you exhale sharply. Ready? Ready with our pretend flowers in front of us? They smelling nice. So sit up straight, back straight, head tilted up to the sky, and then takes 3 short breaths like a bunny sniffing a flower. Just pretend I've got a big, huge, beautiful bouquet of flowers in front of me, okay? And we take 3 short inhale breaths like a bunny. And then we hold, and then we exhale sharply through our nose or through our mouth, and then we do it again. Hold, and then we repeat until we are calm and grounded. Another one is count to 10. So we breathe in and say 1, exhale saying 2, breathing in saying 3, exhale saying 4, inhale 5, exhale 6. You got it? Let's try it again, because I'm not going to go right up to number 10. That's just silly. Ready? We can count. We can breathe in 1, saying 1. We can exhale 2, breathe in 3, breathe out 4. You're supposed to do it through your nose. Breathe in 5, breathe in, breathe out 6, breathe in 7, breathe out 8, breathe in 9, breathe out saying 10. And then we can repeat it and then it's easy for the kids to do. And my favorite one at the moment is the bumblebee breath. And again, you're a buzzard, you're a bumblebee, and you're practicing to breathe. You're a bumblebee. And as you breathe in, you're beginning to smell, got that flower again, those flowers, imaginary flowers, okay? And pretend that you are breathing in like you're a bumblebee. You're breathing in, smelling a flower. And then you breathe out, making a humming bee sound. Through your nose. Ready? I can do it again. Breathing in through our nose and smelling our flower. And breathe out, making a humming bee sound. You might try different sounds. And that's the 3 different kinds of breath work that you can teach your kids. The bunny breathing counts to 10, and my favorite at the moment, just because I can make a noise, is the bumblebee breath. So next week, we will look at next week power of story and how to write your own story, your own truth power packed story. Thank you very much for joining me, and thank you very much for joining me later on, and see you same time, same week, same place next week. Bye for now.
By golly gosh, it's the end of Karibu Anawim's 15 Minutes at Dr. Zaley's Desk, and that's a wrap for this episode. Thanks for tuning in. Please remember that all information given during this episode is for general application only. If you have any specific medical issues, as always, consult with your medical practitioner. Like, subscribe and share on whatever platform you find us on. For more information, please connect with Karibu Anawim on our website at karibuanawim.com or email us at inquiries@karibuanawim.com.